2019 Anderson Township Zoning Commission meeting for tonight. So first on the agenda is there any adjustments to the agenda that we need to add?
There is one item, and it was added to your agenda that you have in front of you tonight. It's not in your packet, but it was a discussion of case 1/1988, which is the Goddard School, and we'll do that at the end of the meeting.
Thank you. So can we have a motion to approve the minutes of the August 26, 2019 meeting?
I'll make a motion.
Second, please.
I'll second.
Could you call roll, please?
Mr. Lewis,
Aye.
Ms. DeBaggio,
Aye.
Mr. Henson,
Aye.
Mr. Boone,
Aye.
Mr. Gothard.
Yes. Third on the agenda is in essence, a
The minutes.
Approve minutes.
I'm sorry. Approval of the minutes of the August 26, 2019 meeting. Could we have a motion, please?
I move to approve the minutes as presented.
A second, please.
Second.
Roll, please.
Mr. Lewis,
Aye.
Ms. DeBaggio,
Aye.
Mr. Henson,
Aye.
Mr. Boone,
Aye.
Mr. Gothard.
Yes. Okay. First case is a continuation or a revisit of case 7-2019 PUD. During the zoning commission hearing that was originally done for this, it was deadlocked in two motions of a 2-2 tie. So the decision was appealed to the Anderson Township Board of Trustees, and the Anderson Township Board of Trustees remanded the case back to the zoning commission to review and decide the case based on the current record, which is the original testimony that was given at the last meeting, for a full 5-member contingent of the zoning commission. So therefore, there will be no public testimony or any new information that'll be held. It'll just be a discussion amongst the commission members on the original data that was submitted at that application and hearing. And with that, I would turn it over to the commission to discuss. So Mr. Lewis, we'll start with you.
Since there's no new information, and I had been at the last, Paul, did we see this 3 times?
This will be the third.
This will be the 3rd time. So I've reviewed the notes from February and from June. I have no questions.
Any statements or anything you'd like to share with the rest of the commission?
No, I mean, I still have my same reservations that I had at the last meeting, or last time we saw this, about the setbacks, I believe it was 28 through 32, the setbacks, the slope, disruption, sidewalks, you know, those issues that we brought up before, they still remain, I guess. So.
Okay. Next in line, any questions or concerns or things that, since you just reviewed the record? No? Okay. Ms. DeBaggio?
I have no change in concerns as the last time. I felt the same concern about the setbacks, giving them 15 feet of almost a variance, that they are basically right on that other property line. Yes, that property right now is a hill. It is woods, but who knows what the future will call for. I would much prefer to see that where the setbacks belong due to the zoning. And I do have concerns about the fact that there is significant grading that's going to be happening here, and we've heard from a number of people, but slippage issues, et cetera. I am going to hope that if this goes through, that the other organizations that follow up, namely the Ohio EPA, the Army Corps of Engineers, that they will institute anything that needs to be done to make sure that this is not a problem for future residents of Anderson Township, that they would be the ones that would stop that as opposed to us.
Why don't you just stop it?
Sir, please, no comments. Anything else, Ms. DeBaggio?
No, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Boone?
I stand by my motion from the last time. I take comfort in knowing that the Hanover County Regional Planning
so I mean, I think our decision tonight is solely based on what the zoning resolution allows, how it allows PUDs with, variation in property lines, setbacks, et cetera. And, the other authorities having jurisdiction of engineering review, all of that, it's really under their watchful eye of the engineering issues that have been brought up. We should just be looking at the zoning. So with that, would like to open up to the commission for someone to make a motion.
I'll reiterate my motion from the last meeting. Let me make sure I get this right. So I move to approve case 7-2019 PUD, provided the applicant provides pedestrian access at Elston Road that was discussed. The applicant agrees to provide funds in lieu of for the sidewalk on Clough Pike as requested by staff, as the project is consistent with A and C districts, consistent with the vision and goals outlined in the Anderson Plan. Single-family use is compatible to surrounding land uses because of the proposed 15-foot landscape buffer along Clough. The site is served by the essential public facilities, and to allow variances for lots 28 through 32 for a 20-foot rear yard setback to the adjacent property rather than the 35-foot rear yard setback as required.
Thank you. Anyone like to second the motion, please? Okay. Hearing no seconds, is there another motion that would like to be brought forth to the commission to consider? Okay. Again, please, this is a commission meeting hearing. Please keep any comments at this time from the audience to no. Thank you.
May I
Yeah,
step
or-
back and reopen discussion
Yeah,
briefly?
let's reopen
just for the-
discussion.
To be fair to the developer and to the public, to be going on record as the vote's imminent, I need to express myself. It seems clear that it's my personal opinion that when we're reviewing these PUD requests, that we are taking into account that, we're making modifications to the underlying zoning, which the developer, certainly has all rights to apply and develop as he or she sees fit. And, we're supposed to be looking at doing that in order to preserve natural resources and environmental resources. And I think I've made this point clear at a past hearing of the same case. And I don't think we've met that standard. So I would like that to be repeated back on the record.
So with that, is there any other members of the commission that has any questions or statements they'd like to make, or questions of staff or council?
I guess my question would be is if we continued it, would you be comfortable if they came back with some adjustments to the plan once again to mitigate your concerns about?
It would be difficult to say.
Okay.
I'd have to see the plans. I mean, potentially yes, potentially no.
Because I still have the same issues of the sidewalks, the slope, the vegetation disruption, and the setback, asking for a variance. I mean, we talk about, a PUD without detriment to the neighboring properties, and that's a key concern for me, so I'll listen to a motion, but if, short of that, I would come up with my own.
I'm going to move that we continue this to give the developer one more chance to try to meet what we have mentioned the last couple of times, and that is specifically the setbacks to the eastbound property, as well as I'm okay with the sidewalk in lieu, funds in lieu, and to try to deal with the disruption of the natural vegetation.
you, Ms. Baggio. Second for that motion.
I'll second.
Thank you, sir. Could you call roll, please?
No.
Yes.
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 Yes. Thank you very much. So next case.
So just, excuse me, just for the audience, so this will be heard again at another zoning commission meeting. We will send out notices because depending on the outcome of the applicant and how timely the plans are resubmitted, it may be next month, it may be at a future meeting date. So we will continue to send out our notices so you'll know when the meeting will be. With it being continued, there will be opportunity for public input at the next meeting.
Thank you. Okay, next on the agenda is public hearing for revision to the approved future land use plan in case 1-2019 LUP for portions of the property at 1267, 1279, 1291 8 Mile Road. So with that, Mr. Drury, if you could give staff report.
Thank you. The applicant is Carl Hartman, who is representing Dr. James Rogers, who is representing 8 Mile Properties and Updated Homes LLC, the property owners. The location, again, as Mr. Gothard stated, there are portions of the property at 1267 and 1279 8 Mile Road, and these properties are Zone C, single-family residence. The request is to approve a modification to the comprehensive plan future land use map. Currently, the future land uses are identified as transitional mixed use and single-family residence, and the request is to change this to transitional residence. This would allow for a future zone change at a later date from C single-family to DD plan multifamily. So we can go straight to the maps, and then we'll go more into the request. So this is the property in question, tagged or hatched for the area to be relabeled as transitional residence versus the current future land use designation. The entire area that is outlined in red is part of a greater development that is proposed. For 13 single-family lots, which would come off of a new street off of 8 Mile Road in this general vicinity, for the construction of just single-family homes. This property here is Zone C single-family, so no zone change is requested for this area, and that is a permitted use for that property. At the terminus of the new street, a condo building is proposed, one building with approximately 24 condo units. So this area here, which is currently Zone C single family, would need a zone change to multifamily for allow that type of use. In order for a zone change to be considered, one of the primary factors is to look at our future land use plan to ensure consistency with the future land use plan. And currently the future land use plan does not permit or does not encourage attached housing, and condo units are considered attached housing. So therefore, that is why they are first, it's a two-step process requesting a change to transitional residence, which would allow for condo units or attached housing. If that is considered and approved by the zoning commission and the trustees, then a future zone change would come in at a later date. This is an aerial of the site in question. Majority of the site is vacant. There are some single-family homes along 8 Mile Road. And this is Cherry Lane here. So these are the homes on Cherry Lane. This property here is the Dr. Rogers Family Dentistry. It's the rear portion of their property. It's being used for offices, and this is their storage building at the end of their parking lot. This is the topography map. Generally, by 8 Mile, it is fairly flat. It does slope to the west, and there is a ravine that runs through the property. This is the current zoning map. The yellow area is Zone C, which is single family, which allows for a minimum lot size of 6,000 square feet. The blue area is zoned for OO, which is planned office. This, again, is the rear portions of Dr. Rogers, the family dentistry practice on Beachmont Avenue. And sorry for this being blurry, but we tried to zoom in. This is our future land use map of the comprehensive plan. This area here is transitional mixed use. This is Cherry Lane, and then this portion of the property that's being requested for the change is also transitional mixed use. So the definition of transitional mixed use is a transition area from the more intense uses on Beachmont Avenue, retail and office, to the single family to the north. It does identify as higher density, but it does not permit attached housing. Transitional residence has a very similar definition, although it does permit attached. These are some of the site photos. So this is standing near Cherry Lane, looking north on 8 Mile Road. This is looking west on Cherry Lane.